With governments around the world shutting their borders due to COVID-19, there's been a real rush from Canadians traveling and living abroad to come back home. We know that this past week alone, there's been nearly 1 million people who came back to Canada. Here's how those numbers break down between March 14 and 20th. 1,500 Canadians and permanent residents returned by sea. Another nearly 449,000 came back by land, and over 529,000 Canadians and nearly 24,000 permanent residents returned by air. One of those was 20-year-old Cecilia de los Rios, who was supposed to return from Spain in May, but following lockdowns in both nations decided to leave, traveling through 3 different airports, including Pearson, her final destination on Monday.
There was a bit more of an emphasis on social distancing, but it was just sort of being said, not followed at all.
The Canada Border Services Agency has also implemented more measures limiting international flight arrivals to 4 airports, Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, and Calgary, saying that this will free up additional resources to help implement enhanced border measures, including screenings. The CBSA says travelers arriving with symptoms will be met by CBSA officers at the gate, be provided with a kit that includes a mask and instructions, and asked to wear a mask immediately. And they will be escorted through the airport to ensure that they are kept away from other passengers. Cecilia, who visited the ER twice for her symptoms while in Spain, says this.
They didn't really ask people in-depth questions if they had had any symptoms. I've had a cough for a couple weeks. Shortness of breath.
The CBSA says it has also added signage to raise awareness to incoming Canadians on the precautions they should be taking, including self-isolating at home. Cecilia has been staying put in her Toronto home, waiting for her COVID-19 test results and following doctor's orders. She says when she was at the airport, she completed a questionnaire at the screen.
It just asked, do you have cough or shortness of breath or fever, any of the symptoms? Do you know that you have to do a quarantine? Getting into the customs line, security didn't ask anything.
CityNews has been inundated with viewer news tips, people expressing frustration that spring breakers and snowbirds have not been self-isolating after landing back in Canada, despite warnings from officials.
Do not leave for at least 14 days.
Officials have been quite stern in their warnings. The minute you and your luggage leave the airport, you're expected to go straight home and self-isolate for 14 days. You don't go get any groceries, you don't run any errands, and you certainly do not go see any friends or family. For City News, I'm Faiza Amin.